You know where the hatch is, don't you?
No.
Oh. We should. Oh, fucking hell. Thanking you. Fucking hell.
What's up YouTube? It's your boy Jamie, and today I wanted to bring you a new video to my channel, which is Dead by Daylight. I'm not even going to pretend like I'm going to do loads and loads of videos. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to say welcome back, nothing like that. We're just going to crack on. So I have been playing Dead by Daylight an absolute ton, and I think it's safe to say that my ranking level is going to give you a pretty good indication. So I should have done a video on this a long time ago, and I know that the new Stranger Things DLC came out, and if you have recently got the game and you're struggling with it, I really hope that this guide will help you in 2019. If you haven't got the game, I recommend going over to CD Keys or G2A, where it's much cheaper than Steam, and pick yourself up a copy and get right into the action. So today's video is going to be purely about the survivors, and we'll focus on the killers on a different video. Now, I just want to give a little disclaimer that I play this with at least one mate most of the time. I don't play Survivor solo very often. I mostly play with a friend. But this video will help you if you do play with yourself, or if you play with mates, 2 mates, 3 mates, whatever it is. This will be able to help any of you. Now, when you first get the game, assuming that you've got no DLC, or maybe you got the DLC pack with the Stranger Things, this does not matter. You can just get the base game, and this video will be able to get you started straight from the get-go. So, assuming that you're going to be playing Survivor first, let's jump into the survivors that you get straight away. Now, I can't remember exactly which ones that you definitely get, but I'm going to take a punt that anything that says character from is usually from DLC. So, with that being said, that would mean that you would at least start with David King, William Bill Overbeck. You'd start with Nia Carlson, Dwight Fairfield, Meg Thomas, Claudette Morel, and Jake Park. Now, 2 characters that you can start off with from the absolute get-go would either be David King or would probably be Claudette Morel. Now, if you're playing with a friend and you've got good communication, you can jump straight into David King. If you're playing by yourself, I'd probably recommend going with Claudette. Now, why do we want to go with these 2 characters? So if we click on David King and we have a little look at these loadout, what you'll see is that he has a perk called We're Gonna Live Forever, and We're Gonna Live Forever says each time you perform a safe hook rescue or take a hit to protect a survivor, gain 25% stackable bonus to all blood point gains up to a maximum of 50%, 75% for level 2 and 100% for level 3. So you're probably thinking, if you're completely brand new, how do I level these up? What are these? What's going on? I haven't got a clue. Okay, so you get up to 4 perks with each survivor, and within those levels you go through what's called the blood web, and when you go through the blood web, as you go through each tree, that will level you up. And the more levels you get, the more perks that you can have. So at the moment I can only have 2 because I'm level 7. If I get to level 10 I can have 3. It's as simple as that. You do challenges, i.e. at the moment daily rituals. There is more to come in the next update, but I won't go into that into this video. You can then do daily rituals, or you can just play the game, doing generators, rescuing people, etc, etc, and that will give you blood points. You spend those blood points in blood web, and then within the blood web you can then get yourself perks. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to have We're Going to Live Forever straight away. And so the 2 main ways, as I said in the description, is to get somebody off the hook when they've been hooked by the killer, or you can get it from taking a hit. So the killer goes to pick up your friend and you kind of get in the way and take a hit just to sort of delay him putting somebody on the hook, and then that way you'll get a stack. It will have a number next to the perk within the game to indicate that you have got that relevant number. So at level 1 you can only get it twice. Now, why would we want this? Because blood points are not hard to come by, but you want the process to be a lot quicker, and then once you've got a certain amount of blood points and once you've unlocked this perk, you can then move on. Now you're probably thinking, well, I've already got the perk with David King, what do you mean unlock it? So unlock it basically means that once you've got to a certain level with David King, you can then get this perk in other blood webs. Okay, so when you click on the character, if you press F1, you'll be able to see the 3 perks that are exclusive to this character. And what it says is that for all the levels that you get with the character, you can then unlock the perk permanently. So I think it's 30, 35 and 40. That with David King, you're going to play till 30. And then, once you've got to 30, We're Gonna Live Forever is going to be unlocked for every character. Now, you still have to get We're Gonna Live Forever within the blood web. However, at least that way it's unlocked. So, once you get David King to 30, I recommend jumping over to Claudette. Now, the reason why I want to jump over to Claudette is because she's got a really good perk that's called Self-Care. Self-Care unlocks the ability to heal yourself without a healing item at 50% the normal healing speed. So, you are slower, however, you're able to heal yourself without relying on a teammate. Now, you could go into each game with a medikit. Medikits are gotten from the blood web, as I mentioned earlier, and then within that, you could then use a medikit until it ran out to heal yourself or your teammates. But as I say, I would recommend at the start you're going to want to go for that. So they're the 2 primary. Where you want to branch off after that, you're probably going to want some sort of speed boost item. So I would get Claudette to 35, I think it was. Actually no, sorry, it's 40. So you need to get Claudette to 40, so you'll be on her for quite a while. And then once you've got her to 40, you could go over to Meg Thomas, who gives you a nice little perk that's called Sprint Burst. Now, this is where things can get a little bit different. So, Sprint Burst gives you 100% of your normal running speed for a maximum of 3 seconds. This causes the exhausted status effect for 60 seconds. So, why is this a bit of an issue? So when you're running around the map, if you burst into speed, then you will activate this perk. So if you press shift, assuming you're on PC or you just run, then you're going to activate this perk, which sometimes you don't want to do because you just want to be able to get around the map quickly. Yes, when you're running, you're creating scratch marks. Okay, let's not digress too much here, but scratch marks are left when you run around the map, and it gives the killer an ability to see where potentially you've been running. Scratch marks stay for several seconds and then they disappear, so bear that in mind. But sometimes you want to be running around the map to get around quickly, and if you know the killer's not around, then you're going to just keep activating Sprint Burst, and that can be quite annoying, which would mean that you would then have to walk around everywhere until the killer either spotted you or you wanted to use your Sprint Burst. Another thing to note as well is that exhausted status effect that you'll see in the right hand side, which will be a heart, that actually becomes paused when you're running. So if you keep running around everywhere after you've activated this, you will not refresh the perk. That's something to bear in mind. Now, one tip that I would give you personally, if you do seriously want to run with this perk and still be able to get around the map quickly, is eventually when you get Meg Thomas to 35, you could then put more points into Nia. And with Nia, you could then go into her tree and then you could get Urban Evasion. And what Urban Evasion allows you to do is it allows you to move at the same speed you would walking as you can crouching. So then when you get it to level 3, you walk at the same speed you were if you were standing, but this allows you to crouch. So you can crouch around, get around really quickly, hide from the killer, but then use Sprint Burst when you need to, and that way that will kind of speed up your movement around the map. So that would then bring you to 4 perks. Now you're probably thinking, hang on a minute mate, you just told me that I need to do Claudette and David King, and you've got David King on level 7 and Claudette on level 2. Hold your horses. So, David King is at level 7, but I've prestiged. So I've already gone round and I've got his perks, and you'll see that. So when you get to level 50, you can decide to prestige. One thing about prestiging, okay? When you prestige, all of the items that you've got from your blood webs, so all of your offerings, items and stuff, they will disappear, okay? So bear that in mind. Make sure that all your offerings that you've used, you make sure you use them all up, or you're not bothered about what's left before you prestige. And also bearing in mind that all the perks you've unlocked, you've got to refine them again in the blood web. Now, before I crack on, I think it's probably worth mentioning, just before we go into those, why I haven't leveled up Claudette. But if you noticed on any of my other characters, you'll see that I've actually got the perk Self-Care. So every week, I think it is, you get to go into the store, and in the store you can go to the Shrine of Secrets. Now the Shrine of Secrets gives you 4 perks that you can buy with iridescent shards without actually having that character, and it's really good for getting perks that are locked behind DLC. As a survivor, most of the best perks that you'll need to get you going won't actually be locked behind DLC characters. Again, that is debatable, but I think most of the perks that you can get to get yourself going will not be locked behind DLC. It's a bit of a different story for Killer, but again, we'll go into that in another video. And what you can see from here is that I can get any of these perks without actually having to unlock them through that character and through their blood web. You're like probably thinking, well, how do I get these points to unlock these? Just playing the game. So each time you level, you will, I think every level or every other level, you get iridescent shards. You spend those iridescent shards on Shrine of Secrets, which is obviously really good news for you. So finally, just to wrap this video off, and as I say, we'll go into gameplay in the next video, but I really just wanted to give you the breakdown to get you started. Some things that you need to be aware of when you're leveling up your survivors is that you will get your perks that we've just gone through, you'll get your items that I briefly mentioned, you'll get add-ons and offerings. So let's talk about add-ons and offerings. So an item, you've unlocked an item in the blood web, it's called the first aid kit. Add-ons allow you to enhance that specific item. So for example, we could add 16 charges to the medikit, which would make it last longer, and we could increase the healing speed when we're actually using this medikit. Just to let you know that if you use this medikit completely within a game, you've lost it. If you die and don't make it out the game, either through the hatch or through the exit, then you will lose the item. If you get your item really low and stop using it and escape, you would then be able to use that item and its relevant add-ons for the next game. So a lot of people you'll find will use a toolbox, they'll get it right close to when it's about to run out, not use it again, and then that will give you the ability to use it in another game. Finally, let's talk about offerings. Now, offerings allow you to slightly change up the game, whereby you can make a very slight difference to what's going to happen in the game. So most of the time you'll be using this for increased blood points. So for example, the survival category, you can get 50% increased blood points, and we'll go over those categories in another video. You could potentially thicken the dark mist, which could make it harder for the killer to see you. You could increase your luck, which would give you more chance of getting off the hook after you've been hooked. And you could also use an offering that would give you a really increased chance of going to a certain map. So we've covered off survivors that you need to pick at the beginning, we've covered off perks, we've covered off items, add-ons and offerings. So hopefully this gives you a really good grounding of what you need to do to get started. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any comments, please put them in the comment section below. If you like this video, then like it. And if you didn't, then okay, that would be sad, but then you'd have to unlike it. And let me know if there's anything else that you want me to cover in the next video. Again, hope you really enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
I'm so happy 'cause I'm a gummy bear, gummy bear. Fucking motherfucker!